Good afternoon. It's a great privilege for me to be here at Chai316. I thank Dr. Benny for doing a great arrangement. Today I'm here to talk about, can science ultimately explain everything? Can science ultimately explain every questions what we get in life? Scientism, people who follow that particular worldview, they believe that science can do. But many intellectuals say it's a horrible intellectual mistake, because I'm going to ask you just a series of few questions. If you can answer me, I think you are one of the greatest intellectual. Can you tell me, why do we yawn? Can medical professionals tell? Why do we dream? And then why do we love? Why do we love beauty? Why do we enjoy music? Where from the language came from? And why are we not just a beautiful group of molecules and robots that can just store information without any free will? Why do we just not go about killing people? Where from the morality came from? Why are we here to think? Where from the reason came? And then in the small 1.4 little kg pinkish tissue in our body head, why it is so mysterious? Why it's so different from soul and consciousness? Where does this consciousness or soul reside? Why are we not able to do brain transplant till now? These are some of the questions. But today, I'm not going to speak about these questions. I'm going to speak about the 4 big questions posed to us by 4 modern discoveries, scientific discoveries that cannot be answered by science. I'm going to speak about the 4 big questions that were posed to us by the recent scientific discoveries that science cannot answer, and which ultimately shows that there is a supernatural God. Science is showing God. Wait a minute. People say that science, when you become more closer and more knowledgeable, you become an atheist. But what do you say? Richard Dawkins said here, religious fanatics want their people to close their minds and then ignore the evidence and to follow blindly a holy book based on private revelation. That's what he said. But in my case, when I opened my eyes wide, when I started searching for the evidence, I stumbled up upon the most powerful creator who said, I'm the God of all flesh. Is there anything difficult for me? I did this research in 4 areas: cosmology, astronomy, physics, biology, and even in geology, and many other small branches to find out whether there is an intelligent designer, a supernatural God, as described by the Bible, exists. That's what brought me to write this book, Beyond the Boundaries of Science, exploring the cosmic story. Today, I'm going to speak about all these 4 major fields. Cosmology, which talks about the evolution of the cosmos. Astronomy, which talks about the heavenly bodies. And then physics, what our physicists spoke about. And then biology. So now let us take a journey into one by one. First, cosmology. So normally at that time, those days, people are believing that we live in a steady state universe. That is, the universe existed forever. There is no change. It was quite uniform, so it was no problem for atheists. It was existing. But then, suddenly, 3 scientists brought in a great paradigm shift. Who are they? Sir Albert Einstein, Father George Lemaitre, and Edwin Hubble. So I'm going to today not talk about science, but tell you a lot of stories. So first, You know, November 15th, 1915, Albert Einstein brought in a major revolution. Did not use mathematics, but he used his imagination and brought out the great theory which rules the universe, the general theory of relativity. It says that time and space are not absolute, but they are relative to each other. That means if I'm traveling in space, I might age little slower. I might look younger compared to the people who might be on Earth. I'm just telling a joke. I might age the time dilation. And even Newton could not explain why Mercury's orbit is slightly getting deformed. But his Einstein's theory said because of the sun's mass, it's getting deformed. So many things it could explain what nobody could explain. But his field equations also showed that the whole universe is expanding. But Einstein, an atheist, and he could not accept it. So what he did? He used an arbitrary constant called cosmological constant, a force that stops the universe from expanding. He put it in his equation and he left it. But another person called Edwin Hubble, he used a big 100-inch telescope. And that 100-inch telescope on Mount Wilson, on that mountain top, through his observatory, he looked at the heavens. He was astonished. He made two major discoveries. The first, the universe is not only up to Milky Way like people thought, it's so huge. It consists of trillions and trillions of galaxies. And the second, all the galaxies are moving far away from one another. So I would just, Monica, if you can play this video to just show a little video how vast the universe is. This is the observable universe, holding around 2 trillion galaxies, and its radius is estimated to be an unfathomable 46.5 billion light years. I believe what lies in the world that cannot be observed could be even more massive, of which our known universe is just a tiny slice. So what I wanted to tell you is we are in a vast, vast universe. It has around 2 trillion galaxies. And that's what he understood. Then he was seeing that all the galaxies are going away, because now if an ambulance is coming towards you, the pitch increases. If the ambulance goes away, the pitch decreases. The same way, the galaxies, he's seeing the light coming from it is shifted towards the red end of the electromagnetic spectrum. If it is shifted towards the blue end, the galaxies are coming towards each other. But it's now going away. So he published. At that time, there was a father, George Lemaitre. He was working with Einstein's equation. Now, he got a theoretical equation, and this had an experimental results from Hubble. And he told, okay, I'm convinced the universe is expanding. So he tried to extrapolate back. When you extrapolate back, what happens? That at one point, time, space, and matter, there was a one-time beginning to the universe, just as his Bible said, in the beginning God made heaven and earth. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. He was totally convinced. He went and met Einstein. But Einstein looked at him and said, your physics is correct. Your mathematics is correct, but your physics is atrocious. He could not accept. But after some time, Hubble invited him. He went and looked at that telescope, Hooker telescope, and came out. Media was gathered there, and he looked at them and said, I now see the necessity of a beginning. And that's when he told the cosmological constant he introduced was the greatest terrible mistakes in his life. But this major twist that the universe had a one-time beginning was so difficult for many scientists to accept. Arthur Eddington, he's one of the famous scientists, he said, this notion of a beginning is repugnant to me. It leaves me cold. They cannot accept that because it has to think Who started it? The question, it posed a question. Why is there something rather than nothing? Where did this universe come from? But why scientists cannot find? Because they can only find only after the 10 power minus 36 second of the universe. If you want to find at the beginning, you need all the four forces that operates when you stick the magnet or when you are jumping up. The force of gravity that works on the big things, and the strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetic force, all these four forces have to be joined. The theory is called theory of everything. The theory of everything, Einstein was after that theory. He died without finding. Stephen Hawking was after that theory. He went beyond the event horizon of the black hole without finding. Still now people have not found it. Astronomy. So now, before this, in 1543, Copernicus, he said he laid the cornerstone of astronomy when he thought the impossible. The earth moves. Till this time, the earth was the center of everything. Now he said, he imagined something which seemed to him absurd. He wrote the book and he died. And on the revolution of the cosmic spheres, and then divine interpretation, people were doing biblical interpretation in a wrong way. That led to the death of Galileo, and not death, he was imprisoned, and Bruno was put on fire. But that was a wrong interpretation. It was not because of the Bible said so. So here, Galileo studied the Bible, studied Augustine's interpretation, and he agreed with Copernicus' theory. But Copernicus was so sure that's what Copernican revolution is all about. But recently, this particular notion, the earth was special earlier, but now it's dethroned. It's not the center. Became more prominent when Hubble found more galaxies. And then it was made more prominent by Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan, 1977, we sent 2 spacecrafts. That is Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. When these 2 spacecrafts went out of our Earth's gravity, for 13 years it was rotating around the 4 gas giant planets, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and Neptune and Saturn and Jupiter. But after 13 years, on the Valentine Day, it was about 1990, 14th February, it was about to go out of our solar system. It turned back towards the sun and took this beautiful picture of all the 6 planets, among that a single dot. You can see this dot. The dot is our Earth. That brought a new thought about our relevance, our importance in this cosmic scenario. So Carl Sagan said, we are just a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. We are just a lonely speck. Why we are not significant? But Bible says, you're made in my very own image. You're so special to me. I love you as the apple of my eye. But this notion that earth is dethroned, we are not special, that was changed again recently. Many scientists, you would have seen the movie of Privileged Planet. See, earth is so privileged it was found. Why, you know? Now, this position of our earth inside our solar system is very, very vital, because earth is the only planet that is hospitable. Life can exist because it's terrestrial, unlike the gas giants like the 4 planets. And it has mass which can hold the atmosphere, the gravity. Our mass, that another planet has 100 atmosphere. It cannot hold the atmosphere. And if our Earth moves 5% towards the sun, we'll become like Venus, very hot. And if we move 20% away, we'll become like Mars. So we are in the right place and the right size. And we have the right sun. It's not going to burst like a supernova or a black hole. It is having a stable life for the next 5 billion years. And who made this right location, right place, not too hot, not too cold, not too far, not too near, not too big, not too small. What a beautiful design Earth has been made. And people are wondering because liquid water, carbon, and many other things exist here. And then next came another great discovery that this position of our solar system inside our Milky Way is again so significant. If this position is moved a little closer toward the center of galaxy, there is a behemoth black hole called Sagittarius A. It will pull everything that comes close to it. And if it moves away from the center, you know there is elements are very less. Life cannot exist. So the right position inside that place. So now this discovery that Earth is special made scientists to think, okay, might be there can be many more Earths because they found there are around 400 planets that rotates around the sun have been found. They are called as exoplanets. If there are so many planets, there can be so many lives like us, aliens. So in Enrico Fermi, 1950, during a lunchtime chat, he asked, "Where is everybody?" This cry, "Where is everybody?" The probability of having a lot of alien lives, but the evidence of not able to find even a one single small little life, that is the cry. It's called Fermi's paradox. That started the research of many SETI research centers, SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So much of money is going in that, but till now they haven't found. And then what people thought might be, the research is going on. Then one more important thing is about moon. You know, we have the right moon. No other planet still now has a moon like this. Our moon is 1/4 the size of our Earth. And, you know, have you seen a total solar eclipse? If you see a total solar eclipse, why it is possible? Because the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, and it is 400 times away from us. It's the same ratio. Why so many striking coincidences? Why so many things like this? What made it? Unless there is an intelligent designer behind all. How it is possible? Next comes physics. Our physicists have talked much about it, so I'm going to cover a little. So here, people were thinking till this time, there is a beginning to the universe. And then next we saw our Earth is so special in the universe. And the third, we are going to find our universe itself is so beautifully designed that life can exist. The universe itself is so beautifully designed because, for example, Stephen Hawking said, why the initial critical rate of expansion, the universe expanded such a critical rate of expansion that even now, 14 billion years later, it's still expanding at the same critical rate. If 1 second after the Big Bang, if it would have the expansion rate is little less, after 1 second after the Big Bang, the whole universe would have collapsed instead of expanding. So even if there are so many equations, what is it that breathes fire into that equation? Being an atheist, his atheism is shaken. And same manner, Fred Hoyle, he was a strong atheist. He was so much against this one-time beginning. He tried to postulate many things against this one-time beginning. But he said this fine-tuning of all the physical laws and constants, even the force of gravity, the ratio of proton to neutron ratio, each and everything, if I go, it takes a long time. So beautifully, extricately, beautifully, finely tuned. So he said he had only taken one particular thing, carbon resonance. So he entered into his laboratory as an atheist. When he finished that experiment, he said, wow. He came out and said that this interpretation, a common sense interpretation of the data shows me that there is a super intellect who has monkeyed with physics and chemistry and biology. And that's what he said. And this is why many people who are into this fine-tuning says that this is the best argument for the existence of God, who is not a part of the universe, but who is beyond space, time, and matter, a transcendent God, a single transcendent God. That's what it points out. But the scientist who does not want this, they postulate string theory and many theory about multiverses. There are many mathematically, you can get beautiful multi-dimensions. So that's why they imagine might be there are multi-universes. If there are multi-universe, one universe can be tuned. I would give you an example here. This example was given by intelligent design proponent Stephen Mayer in his book. So here he says, you are a Star Trekker. Assume, I'm just going to tell a story. You Star Trek and you're going in your spaceship and you enter in the space and you see a space station. Okay, so you enter into it, you dock your spacecraft, enter into it. And there you see something called a universe generating mission. You are a physicist. You go inside and you see a mission like this with so many dials in front of you. And you take your pen from your ear and start making calculations. This is a cosmological constant that helps in expanding. You change a little bit this side, the universe will crumble. Change this side, the stars cannot form. Gravity, neutron to proton ratio, each and everything. You stand there and tell, yes, some super intelligent person has done this. That's what it says. But this multi-universe concept, by pushing, that can be so many universes, one universe can be fine-tuned. But then who started all those multi-universes? It's just pushing one step, the question back. For example, if I go to a shop and you're giving me your shop, you're giving me a cake and I say, this recipe, oh, it's so good. Who is the cook? And then you say, no, there is no cook. It's no intelligently designed. It's done by a cake-making machine. So cake-making machine, who designed? Somebody has to put the recipe inside it. With an intelligent designer, the machine cannot come. That's what the scientists are doing the mistake. And the next, biology. So next 10 minutes, I will take you into a journey into the biology. I think till now, all of you have got it. I'm not speaking on science. I'm telling stories to you. The first, cosmology. Throughout what we found, there is a one-time beginning to the universe. Second, from astronomy, there are so many vast, this universe is so vast and so many galaxies, so many exoplanets, but still we are special. And the third, that each and every universe itself is finely tuned for life to exist. For us, as though the universe is waiting, as though some life will come. Bible clearly says he made everything and finally he made the pinnacle of creation, human beings, which is nothing is important like human beings. God walked with Adam and Eve in the early morning. He did not walk with animals. He walked with them. He made them special. He made them as his very own image. That's what he wants, relationship. Even you know that position, the scientists are wondering, our position, our sun's position inside the Milky Way is called cosmic window. That's the best position if you want to study the cosmos. So if I make some beautiful dish, somebody comes and says, this is a dish, beautiful, I will say, it's made by me. I wanted to tell people that I have done it. The same manner, the Creator wants him to be known. He does not want to be silent. Every creation is telling, this has been done. This has been done by God. And that's why he has put it in a beautiful cosmic window. We can look into the cosmos, discover the cosmos, and then know him. You know, Bible has a beautiful word in Job 7:10. Ask the animals, and they will speak. Ask the birds, they will tell you. Ask the fish, they'll inform you. Earth, they will tell you that this is the hand of the Lord has done this. Only man rejects him. Because we believe that there is in biology such a beautiful topic, you know, because you look at nature and nature reveals the glory of God. Why? Because you see, why camels have non-sinking feet, 3 eyelids, because it has to protect itself in a sandstorm. Why a horse can run fast? It has big lungs, big heart to take in oxygen. And similarly, why elephants have big trunks? It can take so much of material from a tree. Cuttlefish, it can change its color as per its surroundings. It cannot see, but it can change its color. That's a beautiful thing. And coral reefs, so beautifully designed with so many, it has a strong exoskeleton, looks like a roof. And that humpback whales, study about it. It can send so many miles of sound in the ocean. For a long time, that notes, musical notes, keep reverberating. It's so beautiful. And then dolphin, some particular dolphins can send in sounds, and because of which now scientists are using it to find some enemy equipments in the sea. And Wright brothers learned how to drive a flight from the aerodynamical lift of the birds, their wings. So nature reveals its creator. But what Richard Dawkins said, this is just a design. It's not a real design. It's an illusion. It's giving you the illusion that it has been designed as though it's for a purpose. You can read his things that here he is telling, it's absolutely safe to say that if you meet someone who does not believe in evolution, I can call him a stupid and ignorant. Mostly I might not call him wicked because he was so good, not to call him wicked, but I can call him insane. So that's why I'm going to present to you today about what are the gaps in evolution, because he said that it's design without a designer. There is a design, because he said that till Darwin came, people thought there is a design in the world around. But once Darwin came, he showed that's not a design. There is no designer. It's an illusion. Everything can come naturally, and through unguided, undirected process, everything can come into existence. That's what he said. And Francis Ayola, he said it was Darwin's greatest accomplishment to show that the directive organizations can be explained as a result of natural process. That is a design without a designer. So today, I would like to show you through this discovery in biology how the discovery is about the great, beautiful DNA in your cells. The 6 feet of DNA is coiled in the nucleus of each cell, and 3.1 billion bits of data. And that data, if you see, it has digital codes embedded in it. So that digital codes are beautifully embedded, that each digital code will have an instruction how to build you. This is going to be the hand, this is going to be the leg, and this is going to be the color. And so many your genetics is embedded in the instruction code. Scientists say if you see the look in front of the DNA and read it, it goes even beyond miraculous. It's not a random way of arrangement. It's so meticulously, beautifully arranged. That DNA, when Francis Crick and Watson found in 1953, it changed everything. They tried to use that and made it neo-Darwinism, genetics plus Darwin's ideas, but neo-Darwinism could not explain. I would tell you based on a simple experiment. Have you studied Genesis? Isaac, what he does, the selective breeding. Isaac does selective breeding in Genesis, that he brings in different animals and tries to mate them. The same manner, if you want a woollier sheep, you bring in a male woollier sheep and a female and make it to breed. And after some few generations, you can get sheep with more wool. So you need an intelligent designer to breed. So Darwin thought one day, what if I eliminate the intelligent designer? I think that there are series of winters are coming. So the winters are making the sheep more woollier and woollier as it goes. And finally, after some generation, instead of an intelligent designer doing the breeding, Nature is doing the breeding. That is called natural selection. So evolution means it's natural selection acting on random variation. So, but when genetics came, they said natural selection acting on random mutation in DNA. But they found two coordinated mutations in a hominid from an ape to human beings takes so many millions and millions of years, just a two coordinated mutation. So even 14 billion years, Earth is just 4 billion years. 14 billion years or more than that is not sufficient to change from one animal form to another animal form. Evolution is good in explaining microevolution. For example, his thoughts that natural selection, like how an animal adapt, its beak is changed. When Galapagos Island, when Darwin went, he saw the finches, the bird called finch, its beak getting changed based on the environment, based on the climate. That is called adaptation. But how would you get human being from an ape? How would you get insects? How would you get a whale from a mammal? How would you get a horse from a wolf or a dinosaur? It's impossible because you have to have a major animal forms. How would you build it? Natural selection does not have the creative power to build major animal forms. And another problem is Cambrian explosion. They found throughout the world at one point around 550 million years back, at one strata, so many animal forms, and all are different. Like, for example, they see a single-celled animal, they see a big animal. All the things coming at a time together. And it is not like Darwin's tree. Darwin's tree failed because of that. It has a root should be of single animal and the top should be of all the major animal forms. But now even the great evolutionary scientists are thinking of new theories to change it. Because no theory can explain how a major animal form comes. So that's the problem with evolutionary theory. Here you see, if I ask you, which is a pattern and which is a design? The left side, if I can see here, the cloud, it's a pattern, right? And then this eagle is automatically, nature itself has engraved. But right side, all the four precedent phases are created purposely by people. So this is design, this is a pattern. So sometimes God intervenes. Sometimes we think in our life, if God supernaturally intervenes, only God is there. In an average time, God is not there. But God is there in the normal ways and the normal design. And in a supernatural way, He can heal. That is the God we worship. He's a personal God. He comes in each and every point of our life. And another problem with Darwinism, this is the problem with Darwinism I have written. How did life come from non-life? Darwin said he had some problems at the end of his life when he wrote the third chapter of Origin of Species, how beautifully everything is changing. But at one point he said, a cold shudder runs through me. I'm not sure whether I have devoted my life to a fantasy. Because he could not explain the flowering plant. He could not explain how an organic came from inorganic, how major animal life forms came from. He thought might be transitional fossil can be found. But so many years have passed, 150 years and above. Still now no transitional forms properly has been found. So that is the problem with Darwin. Why life cannot come from non-life? Some of you might have studied the Miller-Urey experiment. Miller and Urey, they took some few chemicals and they thought they can make amino acid, the basic building block of life. But now they found amidst more amino acids in our body, only few they can make. They have made only 50%. It needs chirality. They are not able to produce the chiral molecules. So many problems. They have used a trap. They have used a reducing atmosphere, but in early Earth has an oxygen atmosphere. And so the theory is removed. Though it's not removed from the textbook, scientists have removed the theory. So now they are wondering panspermia theory. That is, life came from some space and seeded our earth. But if life should come from some other place, who started life there? It's pushing the question one step backward. And then next is, I have already talked about design without a designer. The important thing is DNA. DNA is a language. If I speak, you need an intelligent being, a language. And if I make CAD-CAM, if you are people of mechanical engineers, CAD-CAM softwares, people write softwares to build machines, right? So if I am not there, I cannot, an intelligent being alone can write softwares. So the information in the DNA, it's called information enigma, clearly points it's not DNA can be miraculous, but something is beyond. How come this information came? Where from this information came? That's most important. So why is consciousness and all these things? These are some of the problems with this. But the greatest problem is this irreducible complexity. In our body, they found nanomachines, molecular machines that does a great job. For example, in a bacteria, it has a flagellum. It rotates at the speed of 100,000 RPM. And when they understood that, Michael Behe have written a lot of books on this. And he personally gifted me his book, Darwin's Black Box. And here you can see it has a liquid-cooled motor. It has a stator, it has a rotor, and it has an acid drive. So beautiful it is designed. And how come you can say in a small bacteria itself is so tiny, inside that it's flagellum, so beautiful molecular mission. And inside your cell, energy generating molecule is there. It's called ATP synthase. So I will can you play this video, just 2 minutes?
It's been called one of the wonders of the molecular world, an amazing nanoscale machine. ATP synthase is a high-tech micromolecular power generator inside the cells of your body. It generates adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, an energy molecule that provides fuel that every one of your cells needs to function. Without this fuel, your cells will cease operation, and so will you. ATP synthase works like a rotary engine. The barrel-shaped rotator is composed of 10 to 15 protein parts called subunits. The rotator spins around, transmitting mechanical energy into the drive shaft of the machine, which helps make ATP. This drive shaft has a specially placed bump that opens and closes parts as the drive shaft spins around.
See, now the beginning of the universe points us to a transcendent creator. Astronomy pointed out that Earth is special. And then physics pointed out the universe itself is made just for you and for me. And then biology pointed out each and every human being is so unique, so special to the God who created. And this God hypothesis has become a more reasonable hypothesis compared to any other one. So that's what I wanted to present before you. This God, who we say that supernatural intervention is not possible, people believe. People believe that miracles are not possible. In my life, when I had to undergo a surgery, in my knee, God healed it. It's supernatural. But so many times, in a normal way, somebody was asking why dinosaurs should die and so human beings should come. Sometimes in our life, in a normal way, we undergo pain, we undergo problems. But through it all, God works His purpose. In a normal way, it might look so trivial for us. Why me? Why everything again and again? It's a pattern, we might think. This pattern it's not a pattern. It can be a design. The designer is molding you. Might be, for example, in my life, I was trying to come out of my depression in my own way. I had some problems and I was so depressed and I was so angry. I was so bitter. I could not sleep. I tried all self-help books. I tried everything that is possible in my own nature to come out of it. With my own willpower, whatever I did, it was not possible. My negative thoughts, my suicidal thoughts, it could not be removed. And then I was doing my PhD in IISc. I got a severe fever. I did not take care. It turned into pneumonia. I'm just looking at coronavirus people dying of pneumonia on the streets. I think of me. I got a severe pneumonia. My both lungs had gone, and I was put on ventilator. When I was in that ventilator, I thought there is no God. God does not exist. And I see all the mistakes I've done like a movie. I thought I'm the best person till then. I could see everything. And God and the blood of Jesus coming and covering it. I heard a voice. I'm giving you new life. And all the 5 days I was there, I felt His presence. I came out, started reading the Bible. Something was telling me, read it. And the words of the Bible came so true to me, so real to me. It started speaking to me. It brought in new life. What I say, that's a pattern. That problems in my life was not a pattern, it was a design. The transformation was real. The transformation that brought in by the Bible was real, because the new passion, the new desires, the new dreams, the new things which I could not do it earlier, the new birth. So what I say, sometimes we think the creation is supernatural. Yes, it's right. The intervention of God, the great God, leaving His heavens and coming down as a little baby when He was born in this world 2,000 years back, is a supernatural event. Resurrection is a supernatural. I want to say your new birth is also a supernatural. Some things which we cannot do, but Holy Spirit of God can do. I have given a lot of explanation for the existence of God, but to move from head to the heart, it's possible by the Spirit of God.